Road to UFC episode 4 is going to be the fourth and also the final episode of the very first round of the Road to UFC tournament. It will be broadcast at Sunday at 8 AM Eastern Time, and should be a pretty good one here, Sunday the 28th of the 5th, 8 AM Eastern Time, so you can watch episode number 3 and episode number 4 back-to-back live streamed on UFC Fight Pass. The first fight of the night is going to be Shin Kaijong taking on Peter Deniso, and in my opinion, Shin Kaijong is probably the best fighter to come out of Singapore so far, you know, because obviously it's a developing sport in Singapore and also kind of in surrounding areas, and I do believe Shin Kaijong is the best fighter to come out of there. He's got really good wins. In fact, one win over Chang over at Brave, and Chang is literally in the tournament at bantamweight, but this fight is going to be at flyweight, and he is taking on Peter Deniso, who I believe is actually a teammate of Top Noi Karam, because you do see Top Noi Karam tagging him in like a lot of posts and stories that he puts up. But once again, Peter Deniso is on a 5-fight win streak. Both of these guys are on 5-fight win streaks as pros. But Deniso did lose his first 2 pro MMA fights, but he's made a lot more improvements since then. He hasn't really beaten the best competition at all. He did beat a guy that was 3-0 recently, which is good. And as you can expect from the fighter out of Thailand, he does have very good Muay Thai. But I like Shin Kaijong to win by submission here. Shin Kaijong, he can wrestle, he can grapple, and more importantly, he submitted a much better fighter, in my opinion, in Chang who was in the tournament. And then on top of that as well, a lot of amateur MMA experience as well, which is what you do like to see. So in the very first fight of this card, and also in the featured fight, is Shin Kaijong to win by submission is my pick, and I think he can get it done there. Most people on Tapology are picking him as well. I wouldn't really mind if Shin Kaijong just got signed straight to the UFC, but it'd be interesting to see. It might be a little bit too much too soon, but we'll see how he looks in this performance here. The next one is Ginting taking on Dayamisi Zarupasi. I believe Dayamisi Zarupasi is also quite young, as a lot of these Chinese fighters tend to be. I'm not actually too sure how old Ginting is, but both of these guys have a pretty similar style. They both kind of like to wrestle. They both like to grapple as well. But Dayamisi Zarupasi, in my opinion, is the better wrestler out of the two. And I think he's more well-rounded as well. Ginting doesn't really have the best striking in the world, whereas Dayamisi does have a little bit of striking. If he needs to keep the fight on the feet, he probably could. But I do like Dayamisi. He should be able to get the better of the wrestling transitions here. He should be the stronger fighter as well. He will be slightly bigger than Ginting, who hasn't really beaten the best guys in the world, but neither has Dayamisi. You know, he's beaten some pretty not so great guys himself. But I do like Dayamisi in this one here. He should be bigger, he should be better, and he should be more well-rounded. So I am going to be picking him to win this matchup here. And so I've got Zarupasi to win this fight. I'm probably going to go with the submission because he does like to grapple. He does like to go for subs. But I wouldn't be too surprised if it is a decision because these guys, as I said, they're both grapplers. The next one is going to be Windu Patillo taking on Shin Haraguchi. Now, Shin Haraguchi, man, this guy is very interesting. And I really hope if he wins the whole thing and if he does get signed to the UFC, that he goes down a weight class, man. This guy is so small for 155 pounds. He definitely doesn't cut weight. I kind of find it hard to believe that if he does cut weight, because he is only 5'6" at 155, and he's not like a built-up 5'6". It's not like Alexander Volkanovski fighting at 155. It's Shin Haraguchi fighting at 155. You'll see what I mean in this fight here, but Windu Patillo is not really the biggest guy either. He has fought at 170 pounds in the past, but he kind of does also seem like a guy that isn't really cutting a lot of weight. But Shin Haraguchi, man, this guy is so talented, but he's so small for lightweight. This guy, he needs to move down a weight class, man. Maybe even 2. I don't know, but you'll see what I mean on Fight Night. But this guy is so good. Shin Haraguchi is insanely talented. He's a Japanese wrestler. I believe he's like a champion for Japan in wrestling. I believe he's won like an Asian tournament. Like just really good freestyle wrestler. And on top of that, he's a very good striker as well, man. He had a really good win over, I believe it was the Naoki Kotani fight, which I watched. Where he just dominated this experienced fighter, Naoki Kotani, who had over 50 professional fights, and just absolutely dominated him. And that's what he does. He just dominates his opponents, but he's so small. Windu Patillo, I don't think Windu Patillo is going to actually offer too much adversity, I guess you could say, to Shin Haraguchi. Now, he is 8-0 and he has actually fought pretty good guys himself, and I was actually quite excited to see him in the Road to UFC tournament. But man, like getting Shin Haraguchi on your first fight is rough, and I just don't think Windu Patillo is going to be able to kind of offer that kind of resistance to someone as skilled and as talented as Shin Haraguchi, because even then, if Shin Haraguchi's having problems on the ground, he can probably keep it on the feet. So yeah, this sounds like a really one-sided breakdown, and it kind of is. I think Shin Haraguchi wins the whole thing, man. This guy he's so good. Shin Haraguchi is truly a fantastic fighter. If he loses, I will look like an absolute idiot, but yeah, for now, I'm definitely on the Shin Haraguchi side. He probably does win by ground and pound TKO as well. And you guys will see his skills, but you also see his lack of size in the fight as well. He's so small for 155. He needs to go down a weight class, and maybe he could get away with going down 2. Like, he is not big for 155 by any means at all. Chang Ho Lee is taking on Rana Pratap Singh, and this is a pick for sure. I'm picking Chang Ho Lee. But if you look at Rana Pratap Singh, man, I am really worried about this guy's level of competition. He has not fought anyone that great. You know, his whole career he's spent fighting guys that are 1 and 2 or debuting. You know, he's 10 and 0. You know, fighting guys that weren't that great. He was 9 and 0 when he fought a 4 and 3 opponent, 8 and 0 when he fought a 1 and 0 opponent, 7 and 0 when he fought a guy making his debut. And then he lost to a 5 and 0 opponent over at Brave, which was like the first like decent opponent he had ever fought. And then just went back to fighting a guy that was debuting, and he won that fight. Now, both guys are grapplers. Rana Pratap Singh, he does like to grapple. He can pull guard if he has to. He's pretty dangerous off his back. He doesn't have the best takedown defense. In fact, I'd say he's probably got absolutely none, because he doesn't mind being on his back. He is a good grappler. But Chang Ho Lee's also a good wrestler and grappler as well. But what Chang Ho Lee has, which Rana Pratap Singh does not, is striking. Rana is not a good striker by any means at all, and Chang Ho Lee is pretty good at striking, and he's going to be much better at striking. So I think that Chang Ho Lee should win this one here. He should win by finish as well. I would be surprised if he couldn't get a finish in this matchup. So I've got Lee. I mean, just Singh, it's just a fade on that level of competition, man. That level of competition is really, really concerning. And now we move on. Juan Binky taking on Bhati Balati. I'm picking Juan Binky. Do I feel good about it? Absolutely not. I feel really, really bad about it. Juan Binky, he was kind of exposed by Jacob's favorite fighter, or one of them anyway, Jika Saragi. Jika Saragi just knocked out Juan Binky. And that KO win for Jika Saragi was actually a big reason why a lot of people picked Jika Saragi to beat Anshul Jabli. Now, I picked Anshul Jabli to beat Jika Saragi in the finals. I do apologize, Jacob, for that one. But yeah, dude, Juan Binky, he's chinny, and that was exposed by Jika Saragi. You know, it only took one shot, and he was out. But he absolutely dominated this guy called Jinasuke Kashimura. But Jinasuke Kashimura took that fight on like 3 days' notice, man. And in that fight, Juan Binky had to defend a lot of takedowns and a lot of grappling, but he managed to do it, and he managed to get the KO. And then before that, he's just kind of not fighting that good opponents. But Ryu and Ok is good. But yeah, he's just not fighting good guys, is he? But the thing about Juan Binky is this guy is so big for lightweight. This guy is absolutely massive for lightweight. And, you know, Bhati Balati as well. You know, he recently fought. He moved actually to the USA, I believe, to try and get the attention of the UFC. So he did kind of fight a bunch of guys. Then he come out of nowhere and fought Haris Talanzik in the LFA. He lost there, and then he got gifted. He got gifted a decision against Ryan Leininger. That was a pretty bad one there. This is just a weird fight to pick, but when it comes down to it, Bhati Balati, like, he throws a lot of kicks, but he's low volume, you know, and Juan Binky is massive for the division. He's powerful for the division. He's probably going to want to keep the fight on the feet, and if he needs to defend takedowns, he probably can, because he is so big for the division, and his takedown defense is very good. So I think that he can keep the fight on the feet. I think he can actually get a KO in this matchup. I think he knocks out Bhati Balati, and only 23% of people are picking him on Tapology, which is interesting. But I am on Juan Binky. As I said, I don't feel that good about it, but I do believe he can get a KO in this matchup here, and he is a very, very exciting fighter to watch. Even though he did get KO'd by Jika Saragi in that fight. But yeah, Juan Binky is massive for lightweight. I think he can keep the fight on the feet. He's dangerous, and I think he's more dangerous than Bhati Balati, who is a pretty low volume fighter. And I think that Juan Binky gets it done And that's kind of all my picks for not just Road to UFC 4, but all of my Road to UFC predictions as well for the whole tournament. It should be a good one. I'm really looking forward to it. Let me know what you think about the whole tournament in the comments below. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.